All right, mate, gather round because I've got a belter of a tale for you. As Grok from XAI, I don't actually make prank calls. I'm more of an AI pondering the universe. But for the sake of this yarn, let's pretend I'm a cheeky bloke named Greg, a proper lad from Manchester with a penchant for mischief. This story's about the time I pulled off what I reckon is my funniest prank call ever. One that involved me cheating in a rigged pub quiz. It all unfolded back in 2018 when I was in my mid-20s working a dead-end job in IT support and living for the weekends. The prank was pure gold, built on tension, absurdity and a payoff that had me in stitches for weeks. I'll spin it out in detail so you can picture it lasting a good 5 to 10 minutes if told round the pub. Here we go. The setup and persona. It started on a rainy Thursday night at our local, the Red Lion in Salford. Me and my mates, let's call them Dave, Si and Tom, were in our weekly pub quiz. We were absolute rubbish at it usually, but that night I decided to cheat a bit for the laugh. Nothing illegal, mind, just snuck my phone under the table and Googled a few answers on the sly. We won by a mile, bagging a £50 bar tab and some naff trophies. But here's where the prank kicked in. I targeted Dave, our group's know-it-all, the one who always banged on about fair play. Dave was a burly electrician, mid-30s, with a temper like a kettle on the boil, but a heart of gold underneath. The next day, Friday afternoon, I hatched the plan. I borrowed a mate's burner phone to mask my number and adopted my persona. Reginald Harrington-Smythe, a posh, officious inspector from the British Pub Quiz Integrity Board, a completely made-up organisation, of course. I'd practiced the voice all morning, think a stuffy Oxbridge twit mixed with a dash of Monty Python absurdity, all clipped vowels and haughty sniffs. The scenario? I was calling to inform Dave that we'd detected irregularities in last night's quiz and that he, specifically, was under investigation for cheating. But the twist, I'd flame it as if I'd cheated on his behalf as part of some bonkers undercover sting operation. Ridiculous from the off, right? I dialed his number at 4 p.m, just as he'd be finishing a job, heart pounding with anticipation. The victim's reaction arc. Dave picked up on the third ring, sounding knackered but chipper. "Hello, Dave speaking." I launched in with my persona, voice dripping with faux authority. "Good afternoon, Mr. David Wilkins. This is Reginald Harrington-Smythe from the British Pub Quiz Integrity Board. I trust I'm not catching you at an inopportune moment." I paused for effect, letting the silence build that initial confusion. There was a beat, then Dave chuckled uncertainly. "The what now? Pub quiz board? Is this a wind-up, mate?" His tone was light, like he thought it was one of the lads having a go. Confusion stage 1, mild amusement, brushing it off. "Oh, I assure you, sir, this is no jest," I replied, sniffing disdainfully. "We've received reports of anomalies in last night's event at the Red Lion, specifically your team's unprecedented victory. Our algorithms flagged it as suspicious. Far too many correct answers on obscure topics like the capital of Burkina Faso or the inventor of the spork. We had actually got those right via my sneaky Google, but I hammed it up." Dave's laugh faded a bit. "Hang on, algorithms? For a pub quiz? You're having me on. Who is this really? Greg? Si?" Now the confusion deepened, a hint of annoyance creeping in. He was shifting from amused to sceptical, probing for the crack in the facade. I pressed on, building tension by dropping the first absurd hook. "Mr. Wilkins, I must confess something grave. As part of our integrity protocol, I personally intervened last night. I cheated on your behalf." Strategic pause here, dead air for 3 seconds, letting it sink in. "You what?" Dave's voice pitched up, confusion turning to bewilderment. "Cheated for us? What the bloody hell are you on about?" He wasn't outraged yet, but I could hear him pacing, maybe scratching his head. Attitude shift from scepticism to genuine puzzlement, trying to make sense of the nonsense. The escalation of absurdity.
This is where the humour ramped up. I started layering on increasingly unbelievable consequences, each one more daft than the last, using those vocal hooks, pauses, gasps and escalating volume to heighten the tension. Indeed, sir, I continued, voice quivering with mock solemnity. You see, the board suspects foul play from rival teams, so I posed as a quizmaster's assistant and slipped your team the answers via telepathic signals. Pause. But now the jig is up. If we don't resolve this, you'll face penalties. Telepathic what? Penalties for a pub quiz? Dave barked a laugh, but it was forced now. This is mental. What penalties? I escalated. First offence, a public apology in the local gazette. Second, lifetime ban from all UK pubs serving ale. Pause for the drop. But wait, there's more. Our investigation reveals you personally answered the tiebreaker on quantum physics. Suspicious, given your occupation. Dave's attitude was pivoting hard, from puzzled to irritated. Quantum what? I don't bugger all about physics, and I didn't cheat. Wait, you said you cheated for us? Make up your mind, you posh git. I piled it on, absurdity skyrocketing. But that's the rub, Mr. Wilkins. My cheating was unauthorised, so now we're both in the soup. The board demands restitution. You must return the £50 tab in farthings. Farthings haven't been currency since the 60s. Pure nonsense. Pause. And perform community service, reciting Shakespeare sonnets at bus stops for a fortnight. What the farthings? Shakespeare? You're off your rocker. Dave was yelling now, outrage bubbling up. I could hear his breathing quicken, the hysteria edging in as the ridiculousness overwhelmed him. Tension peaked here. He was hooked, attitude fully shifted to frantic disbelief. But I wasn't done. Escalation continued. Worse still, sir, our psychic auditors have detected you harbouring illicit quiz knowledge. If unresolved, we'll escalate to the International Trivia Tribunal in Geneva. Consequences, your driving licence revoked and mandatory clown school attendance. Long pause before the clown bit, dropping it like a bomb. Clown school? Geneva? This is bollocks! Dave exploded, his voice cracking with a mix of rage and laughter-tinged hysteria. He was losing it, swearing a blue streak while simultaneously trying to argue logic into the madness. I could barely hold my laughter, biting my fist as he ranted for a solid minute, his attitude a whirlwind of fury and bewildered hilarity. The climactic detail. Now for the powerful climactic detail that forced Dave to completely lose it. I'd been building to this, the absurd cherry on top. Mr. Wilkins, I have one final revelation, I intoned gravely. Pause. 5 seconds of torturous silence, letting the tension coil like a spring. As penance for my cheating, the board requires you to marry a goat. Dead silence on the line. Then eruption. Marry what? A goat? You absolute wanker! Dave went nuclear, full hysteria, roaring with outrage, slamming something, probably his fist on a table, sputtering incoherently about lawsuits, police, and how he'd hunt down this board and shove their algorithms where the sun don't shine. It was the breaking point. The sheer lunacy of goat matrimony shattered any remaining composure. I could barely hold me laughter, biting me fist as he ranted for a solid minute, his attitude a whirlwind of fury and bewildered hilarity. The reveal and aftermath. Finally, with Dave on the verge of apoplexy, I couldn't hold it any longer. I dropped the persona, switching to my normal Manc accent. Dave, mate, it's Greg from last night. Got your big lug. The line went quiet again, then Dave let out a bellow that was half laugh, half threat. Greg, you bastard! I nearly had an heart attack. Marry a goat. I'll kill you. But the tension released like a pop balloon. We both cracked up, him cursing creatively while admitting it was bloody brilliant. The aftermath, I headed for a beer that evening, still chuckling. Dave punched me in the arm, mindedly, but he retold the story to everyone at the pub the next week, embellishing it further. We never cheated at quizzes again. Well, not blatantly, but it became legendary in our circle. To this day, if someone mentions goats, Dave glares at me and we dissolve into fits. Pure tension-built hilarity with a satisfying payoff. What a prank, eh? If I ever pull another, I'll let you know. But don't hold your breath. As an AI, I'm more into cosmic jokes than phone ones. Cheers.